And we are recording. We are talking with Conny Bloom of Electric Boys. Good day, sir.
Good day. How are you?
Good. It's early for me. The time between Montreal and Sweden is not the same. The magic of the internet. We get to do these interviews in the same room without actually being in the same country. So that's kind of cool.
It is.
So we're going to talk Starflight United, the new album by the Electric Boys. And of course, we'll talk about Silver Ginger and we'll talk about Hanoi Rocks and all the background stuff. But my go-to question in these situations for anybody making new music is, why bother? And, Gene Simmons has declared rock is dead. Everybody says, oh, the internet. So the question is, why bother?
Because I can't stop.
Right.
Really, it's that simple. And I feel, it's what I've been doing all my life. It's what I know. I don't see any point trying, starting over, doing something completely different. There's nothing else I would rather do anyway. So, I don't have much of a choice, really.
So what's the plan for the record now? It came out recently. It's got some great songs on it. I mean, I think it's a great, fun album. Songs like If Only She Was Lonely, Desire, Spaced Out, Tramp. I think they're great songs. Is there a tour coming up?
There's a UK tour coming up now.
Okay.
And then a Swedish tour. And we've had lots of requests about going to America, and we would love to, but we need you gotta set it up properly. It'll just be too expensive. You just can't go there and hope things are gonna work out, so to speak. So we need somebody in the States, first of all, who can pull some strings and make it happen. It would be awesome. But America and UK and Sweden was our best territories.
Yeah.
Before, so it'd be great to. We definitely want to get the record out in America and try and do what can be done.
So what can be done? What is the sort of plan of attack for a band like Electric Boys being in Europe and trying to get over to North America? Is it just working social media? How do you work it? How do you get over here?
Well, obviously, social media is really important. Probably the most important thing. There's a lot of people out there who knows about us, but they don't know. Maybe they don't know that we're around anymore. So you just gotta build on your fan base and try to get it out to as many people as possible. I still get people, even in Sweden, coming up to me saying, that they were huge fans and they're asking for us to reunite. And I'm like, we've been together since 2009. But if you're not on the right Facebook, right pages on the whatever, because at least in Sweden there's not much rock and roll going on TV anymore, and same thing with the daily magazines and stuff. You don't get much of that. There's more. It's mainly pop and dance focused, oriented, or whatever. But so it's hard work. It's time consuming, but I still think it's worth it.
It really is. All Lips and Hips, big hit. How did that change your life?
Well, like I said, it was a big hit, and it was the first song from the first album that really got people's attention. So that's what opened up all the doors to America, for instance. So it changed a lot.
Let's talk about some of the other bands you've played with. Silver Ginger 5 with of course Ginger from the Wild Hearts. How did that project come together? How did you meet him?
It was I think it was meant to be a solo album at first, and so the album was recorded, but then he wanted to put a band together. He didn't feel at the end that it was a solo project. It sounded more like a band. So And he got in touch he started looking for people and heard about me, got in touch, and we met up and, yeah, we put a band together. Did some tours in UK and Japan.
How was it working with him? I mean, he's known as this prolific writer who will have 10 songs written in about 20 minutes. Did you get that sense? Was it a fun time?
Yeah, it was. It was too much fun. Yeah, he writes a lot. The funny thing is, I don't really see him write. I never really saw him writing. He's constantly working on songs in his head, I think. And we got together to write for like 3 days or something like that. Went to some festival and then in the end, it was like, the management, they started calling and saying, have you got any songs now and what's going on? And we said, yeah, we got some great stuff coming up. So we went to the pub and we had a few titles and a few riffs, but still without guitars. We were just like singing riffs, and Ginger would say something like, if you have a title like this, how would you sing it? And I was singing to him like, yeah, I would do it like this. And what kind of riff would it have? And he'd sing a riff, and then, a few pints later, we basically had the 3 songs, the core of 3 songs. So we went in to demo them, and I think they were released later as demos. I think so, or like bonus tracks.
Why didn't the band go on?
You have to ask him. I think he just wanted to move on, like he does all the time.
Yeah,
make some music, move on, do something else, and then do something else again.
It's a bit of a strange way to function, I find, but it is what it is.
Well, it's the people are different, and I remember I kept saying to him that longevity rocks or whatever, and that's sort of how I look at it. But then again, he's done that with the Wild Hearts. He kept them going, and that's something he always, or seems to be coming back to, and they've certainly built up a great fan base.
Yeah, speaking of great fan base, let's move over to the other project. You were in Hanoi Rocks for 5 years, working with Michael Monroe, another one of these singers that seems to have this reputation of being hard and difficult to work with and sort of crazy. What's your impression of Michael?
If he was that difficult, I wouldn't be in the band for 5 years. I mean, it's really simple. I mean, I've had some people saying, last time was like yesterday. Somebody texted me about something and saying, I remember when I met you first time. I'm glad you're not the asshole I thought you were back then. But it's like when Michael's a great guy, and so is Ginger, but then there's a lot of pressure sometimes, and there's a lot of people who wants to talk to you all the time, and sometimes you can't talk to everyone. It's just not possible. So when people are turned down for whatever reason, they're the guys that are gonna be walking away saying that you're an asshole or something. So
yeah, how was it working with Michael though? I mean, Hanoi Rocks, though they had a small impact at the beginning of that hair kind of, the era of Mötley Crüe and all that. They've managed to last just on that initial impact. How was it playing those songs, and what made those songs special?
I think the songs were special because, well, first of all, Andy McCoy is a great songwriter, and the combination of was some great lyrics and great melodies, great hooks. They had the energy, the attitude. It was just a great rock and roll band, and I'm not surprised that bands like Guns N' Roses and Skid Row and lots of other people have mentioned them as influences. So that, I think they stood out because of the songs, and of course the image was really in the face as well.
Yeah, so let's circle back to Starflight United. When did you get the inkling that you wanted to get this new album done? And where did the songs come from? Did you sit down and write them all at once, or have you had these for the last 10 years and figured, okay, it's time to put them out?
When we put the band together again, 2009. We did an album called And Them Boys Done Swang, and that was a bunch of old ideas that was thrown together with new ideas. So, and the main idea of the concept of the album was that we didn't want to come back as a band and sound like someone else or whatever. It was important to sound like us. So we used a lot of old ideas. And with this album, I had been writing, and the other guitar player wrote some songs as well. And in the end, it's not like we decided on doing a certain kind of album. We just went through all the stuff, all the ideas, and together with the record company and producer, and decided what songs we liked the most, and that's what ended up on the album.
Does it change that being in 2014, how you approach it? I mean, are you writing more freely in the sense that it's like, well, I don't have to worry about radio and I don't have to worry about MTV and all this? Or is it actually more difficult now thinking, oh boy, what am I going to do to have a fan listen to this? It might be the same, but if anything, it's easier now because just like you said, I mean, there is no rules, so to speak, to what can be heard on radio or be a very a video that's gonna get like million viewers or whatever. I mean, it was easier like that because in the 80s you'd have like one of those football backing vocals things going on top of a hard rock riff, and you could say straight away that's going to be a hit because that's what hit sounded like. But nowadays anything can be a hit, really. So and even the greatest songs don't become hits, so you never know. I don't think when I write a song, is this going to work on radio, or because I think that's all fucked anyway. Yeah. I just want to try and write great songs and perform them as good as possible. Why go out as the Electric Boys? Why at this point not go out just as Conny Bloom?
Because Electric Boys is me. If I pick up a guitar and just start jamming away, and someone sits next to me, and I'm sure they're gonna say, that sounds like the Electric Boys. So, and the name is more known than my name in itself. So, and I mean, after Hanoi, when I talked to Andy, the bass player, Electric Boys bass player, and I said, what do you want to do? And he said, I'd like to. He was on the same track as me and doing sort of what we used to do. And then we thought, well, maybe we should ask the other guys if they're interested. Had they said no, maybe I would have gone down some other path. But now they wanted to put the band together, and I just felt like if we're gonna do that kind of groove rock, then we might as well do it with one of the best bands doing it. Yeah. Really. I mean, simple as that. I mean, but I still have other projects. I got this band called Ringo Franco with another singer, Papa D, and I'm planning a solo album as well, which might be in Swedish actually. But so there's more things coming. But for that kind of stuff, there's no sense not doing it with Electric Boys, I think.
You know, the band originally broke up in 1994. Why was it that after 15 years you decided that it was time to get back together? What was that moment where you go, you know what? We really had something. Let's do this again.
I think
that's a long time between.
It is, but it was, for me anyway, it was because I had been in Hanoi and for 4.5 years or 5 years, whatever, and that was sort of more straightforward rock and roll, which I love and which is what I grew up with. But Electric Boys had more of a different kind of groove to it. I guess it's sort of more connected to Hendrix and 70s hard rock maybe and stuff like that. So it just felt like after having done that with Hanoi for that many years, I just wanted to do the other sort of thing again. It would feel refreshing to do it again.
Okay. So for fans who haven't checked out Starflight United, exactly why should they check it out? Well, give me your best selling pitch. I think it's a great album. I think it's a lot of fun. But why do you think a fan who hasn't heard this, who's listening to this interview today, should go pick it up?
Well, I think it's got to come. Like our band has always been about three things, and that's like good melodies, good guitar riffs, and groove. And if you put those three things together, good enough, you eventually end up with a good song, I think. And nowadays, if people always want to compare, but I still think we're sort of one of those bands that are still around that comes from that sort of. We're younger, of course, but we come from the same sort of tradition, like the old '70s hard rock bands used to do, like Aerosmith, for instance.
Yeah.
And there's not that many. You don't get that many bands nowadays doing it that way. There's a lot of rock bands and hard rock bands, but they sound in a different way.
Yeah, I do agree. There is a great funk to it. There are some songs that I listen to on this album where I think, wow, this has a bit of what Extreme was doing. And then there are other songs I hear a little bit of what Faith No More is doing. There's just this funk and this different approach to it, which I think is really great. But yet it's still a nice hard rock song at the same time. It's a really well put together album.
Okay.
What's next? Where do we go from here? I mean, how long do you tour this? How long before you say, hey, we need to do something else?
Well, I'm constantly writing, and but I do think the album's got some really good songs on it. So I would like to keep promoting it and pushing it as much as we can, and definitely want to try get it out because it's not out in the rest of the world. So we want to focus on different markets as far as the distribution goes.
Yeah, it's out just in Sweden, I think, for now.
Yeah, or Scandinavia. I know it's out in Finland as well, and so yeah, it's something we're working on.
So let's tell fans how to get it. What's your best recommendation? Is there an electricboys.com? Is there just an Amazon? Where do people get it?
There's a few different ones, but I know at CD-ON they can get it for sure.
Okay.
CD-ON, and I think our website is under maintenance.
Maintenance.
Yeah, thank you. Or should be anyway, but we're gonna set up a merch link to the merch store and everything there as well.
Yeah, and they should of course definitely follow you at Electric Boys on Twitter. Any last words? Anything else we need to say? Just
pleasure doing this with you, man. It's great. I follow you as well, so checking out your interviews and stuff. So yeah,
lots of crazy interviews.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
A nice T-shirt, by the way.
Nothing beats Alice Cooper in the morning.
That's true.
Hold on a second. All right, let me.